Greetings and salutations. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on compound interest. Well, what is compound interest? Compound interest is the interest you earn on interest, basically. Let's just say that you borrow money from the bank, you get a loan, and let's just say you take €100. Now, from this, you obviously have to pay the €100 back, but with interest. Let's just say the interest rate is 5%. So, for example, year one, you have to pay back €105. And then let's say the second year comes along, and then you have to pay €110. Because that 5% interest adds on as the years go by. So not only are you paying back €100, what you originally took a loan for at the bank, you are paying way more than that as the years go by. So that's what compound interest is. The question here is asking, Emma invests €900 for 2 years at 5%. What is the total compound interest Emma must pay? Well, we can break this up. In year one, she is paying €900 at a 5% rate. So if we just do 900 multiplied by 0.05, you would get 45. So 900 plus 45 is equal to 945. This is the amount that she pays in the first year. Now, not only that, in the second year, we're going to keep using this 945. So we will just bring this all the way down, €945, and we have to multiply that by 0.05 again, because that 5% is continuously added on. So that is 47.25. And then that would be, adding these two together, you get 992.25. And this is the amount of compound interest Emma must pay. Now, the question is quite simple. This is easy, except what would you do if you're given a question where it says 7 years long or 10 years long? You'd be doing this on and on and on and on. Luckily, we have a formula. And this formula is F equals P, bracket 1, plus I, and then raised to the power of T. This looks absolutely insane, but allow me to explain. So F stands for the final amount. This is the amount after all the interest is added. For example, if you are saving, okay? If you're saving, you do so with a bank. So every year that you save, you get compound interest on that. You get added on. You're basically getting awarded for saving. So final amount would either mean the amount that you get in total, either from saving, or the amount that you owe from getting a loan or a mortgage or etc. The P stands for principal. So the principal is basically the amount invested or the amount borrowed. So the original amount. With the practice question with Emma, the principal would be 900 because that's the original what she already invested in. Next, you leave the one as it is. The I stands for interest, okay? Well, interest rate. And highlight this. The interest, the I, is always in decimal form. So, with the last question, this was 5%, right? That's the interest rate. In this case, you would put it as 0.05, okay? You wouldn't put it as 5%. You'd put it as 0.05, okay? Always in decimal form. Lastly, for the T, that is squared up, that is raised to the power by, T stands for time. This would usually be in years, so it would be annually. Let's do a practice question. So, say you're given the question, that's supposed to be 2. Say you're given the question, a sum of money is invested at 7%, per annum. So per annum means annually. If it amounts to 6,848 euro, after 1 year, find the sum invested. Okay, so there's a lot of talk here. We are told that the interest is 7%. Perfect, love that. 7% compound interest, right? But then we are told the final amount after investing for 1 year, so it is 6,848, and the time is 1 year, like I just mentioned. So this is all we are told, and we are missing one. One of these are missing. F, P, I, or T. What is missing? P. We're missing P. We're missing the principal. What did she originally put? What did this person originally put in? Okay? So we have to try and figure that out using this formula. So what is F? F is 6,848. So the final amount is equal to the principal. We don't know what the principal is, so we're just going to leave that as P. We're going to leave it as it is. P, bracket 1, we'll leave the 1 as it is, plus our interest rate. Now, what did I say about interest? What form does it need to be? Decimals. It always needs to be in decimals. No percentages allowed. So 0.07. Now we are raising it to the power of 1. It's kind of meaningless. That doesn't change it, but just leave it as it is. So now we have to solve for P. Firstly, we're going to solve what's within the bracket first. So 6,848 is equal to P. So 1 plus 0.07 is 1.07. Raised to the power of 1, you don't really need to. It's the same thing. Although, if it is raised to the power of 2, you would solve for that. Don't forget that. So now what you need to do is you need to divide. Because remember, here, the P and 1.07 is multiplying. If I were to bring this 1.07 to the other side and divide, then I'd know the value of it then. But you may ask, well, why don't you bring the P down? Well, in this case, P is the unknown value. We don't know what the principal is. So we're going to leave that on its side by itself because we're trying to find the value of P. So we need to find the actual, value by either dividing, multiplying, adding, or subtracting, whatever. So I'm going to move this to the other side and divide. So 6,848 divided by 1.07. Okay, so this would then, why did I put it like that? I have no idea. 6,848 over 1.07 is all equal to P. Beautiful. So then if you divide this, just put it into your calculator, it gives you 6,400 is equal to P. And this is your answer. So originally, this person invested 6,400, okay? Over the course of 1 year, there was a compound interest of 7%, which raised up to the price of 6,848 euro. But this is the sum that the person originally put in. Now, let's just say we are given the question, 2,500 was invested in a building to society. If it amounts to 2,612.50 after 1 year, calculate the rate of interest. So we have to firstly list what we are missing. So this is the amount that was originally put in. So that's our principal. Our principal is 2,500. Although they later tell us that if it amounts to 2,612.50 after a year, so our final amount is 2,612.50. Then our time is 1 year. But the one that we are missing is rate of interest. What is our interest rate? So we can put that into our formula and solve. So F is equal to P1 plus I raised to the power of T. So our F is 2,612.50, and then our principal is 2,500. 2,500 and then 1 plus, I will leave it as it is, raised to the power of 1. So now we have to solve for I, okay? So now in this case, well, in the last case, I took over the what was in the brackets. Now I can bring the 2,500 to the other side because I don't know that amount. I don't know what it is. So 2,612.50 divided by 2,500 is equal to 1 plus I. Okay, do we see that? All I did was I just left the raised power because then again it's just 1, it's the same as it is. And then I just took out the bracket because it's not multiplying by anything anymore. And remember, 2,500 was multiplying by this bracket. And when I brought it to the other side, it's doing the opposite of what it originally was doing. Now it's dividing because it's the opposite of multiplication. So now, if we divide that, we are left with 1.045. Remember, do not round up in the middle of doing your sums, okay? Please do not. If you do round up, you will get a wrong answer. Straightforward as that. So do not round. This is not rounded up. So 1.045 is equal to 1 plus I. Now, we have to find the value of I. How are we going to do so? We're going to bring 1 to the other side. Simple as. 1.045 take 1 is equal to I. 0.045 is equal to I. Now, obviously, the interest rate is, in the formula, has to always be in decimal form. But in the questions asking for rate of interest, and this is typically, well, it's actually always in percentage form. 0.045, just multiply that by 100, then you should get 4.5% is equal to I. So I is 4.5%. And that is that. Thank you for watching.